안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 오늘도 아침에 일어나기를 성공했습니다. 성공. 근데 아침에 일어날 때마다 너무 힘들어요, 진짜. 출근은 오후 2시까지인데 아침 8시, 9시에 일어나는 게 쉽지가 않습니다. 그리고 일단 지금 밖에 눈이 엄청 옵니다. 폭설. 한방눈이 엄청 오고 있어요. 그냥 아예 앞이 뿌예요, 뿌예. 출근을 버스로 출근해야 될 것 같습니다. 운전 조심하시고요. 이미 차를 가지고 가신 분들. 근데 어제부터 일기예보에서 나왔죠. 눈이 엄청 많이 올 거라고. 와, 근데 틀릴 줄 알았는데 진짜 엄청 많이 오네요. 이렇게 보고 있으면 눈이 엄청 떨어집니다, 하늘에서. 일단 저는 운동을 해야겠죠. 오늘도 어제와 같은 코스로 가겠습니다. 발굽혀펴기, 스쿼트. 근데 스쿼트 약간 변화를 줄 거예요. 원래 맨몸으로 20개씩 했는데 이거 들고 10개씩 하는 걸로 하겠습니다. 코로나 바이러스는 여전히 많이 나오고 있고요. 근데 뭐 집단 감염이 많이 나오고 있죠. 엊그저께는 뭐 100명. 진짜 대단합니다, 대단해. 그리고 주식은 뭐 그냥 3,100에서 왔다리 갔다리 하고 있고요. 또 뭐 있나요? 이제 1월이 곧 끝납니다. 이제 오늘 28일, 1월도 이제 3일 남짓 남았고 곧 2월이고요. 2월이면 일주일 뒤에 바로 설날 끝나면은 이제 개학. 과연 계약을 할 수 있을지. 우선 운동하겠습니다.
And Hawley, if you listen to them, they say we're against violence, we're against extremism on both sides. But while the fight against racism to them is really just an excuse to riot, right? BLM, bad. Antifa, like Al Qaeda. But the Oath Keepers, QAnon, the Proud Boys, the groups that the FBI are looking at, silence. Yesterday, they had a chance to separate the GOP from the idea of what savaged our capital. And they voted to not even follow their duty under the Constitution. They just want to let Trump and this contagion continue to spread. If they won't do anything to speak out against it or hold the motivator to account, they must want more of the same. Just listen to their twisted thinking.
A trial of a former president is simply vindictive.
It's vindictive, it's backward-looking, it's unserious, it's constitutionally sketchy. They hate Donald J. Trump, and they're engaging in an act that I think is petty, I think it is retribution, I think it is vindictive, and I think it's a waste of time.
You think vindictive was a talking point for them? You know what's vindictive, meaning seeking revenge? A coup. You know what's vindictive? A Confederate flag paraded through our Capitol that you say nothing about. You know what's vindictive? People forcing you to hide. You, Cruz. You hid in fear. You should have hid. We get it. Because they were looking for you. That's vindictive. By definition, seeking revenge. You know what that is? Inciting domestic terror. To attack the Capitol because you lost. That is vindictive. If you're going to have a talking point, apply it to the right things. This is vindictive. They wanted it to be vindication, but it wasn't, because democracy held. This is the same party that held Benghazi hearings for years, who now think we have to forget all about this attack on our capital. They just move on. Why? Well, people died in Benghazi. Remember that? People died. Yeah. One fewer than died in the capital. Why doesn't it matter? If they were not hell-bent on taking us all to hell in a handbasket, why would Mitch McConnell go from Trump provoked this and fed that mob lies, remember he said that, and pleading, we need time, let me move this trial, it must get due consideration, the president must have time to prepare. Why would he say that and then immediately go to voting to dismiss the trial before it even starts? He wants the chaos. They want to comfort our attackers by doing so. Again, just think about a better reason. Why would House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy go to Florida tomorrow to kiss the ring of the rogue former president? Why? There's only one reason. To stay close to the man who is the king of the chaos and the crazies. Matt Gaetz, a Florida nobody, going to Wyoming tomorrow to smear a top Republican who spoke up against the king. The trip is a hit job on Liz Cheney. That's all it is. Why? She voted to impeach Trump. No one speaks against this guy. No one. Why? Think about it. They removed Steve King from committees. Remember him? Need more white babies? They did it reluctantly, but they did it after we kept highlighting his poison. But guess what they're doing now? They are empowering someone way worse. A QAnon kook, Marjorie Taylor Greene. This woman indicated support for executing prominent Democrats. She once called the Parkland shooting a false flag operation. Now she's been assigned to the House Education Committee. Look at this for an education.
David, why are you supporting the red flag laws? You are using your lobby and the money behind it and the kids to try to take away my Second Amendment rights. You don't have anything to say for yourself? If school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools.
Let me ask you something. Would you chase after a kid who survived a mass shooting asking him why he doesn't want more guns? Seriously, think about it. I don't care how Second Amendment you are. I'm a gun owner too. Would you do that? Bragging that you are doing it with a weapon on you as you antagonize this kid? And who's doing it? That woman thinks putting bullets in Nancy Pelosi is something to play with, and she wonders why anyone would question people like her getting a concealed carry permit. You are the reason for red flag laws, lady. This is the person that you promote? My Republican brothers and sisters? The party of Lincoln? Hello? You're promoting someone who's more like John Wilkes Booth than Lincoln. Don't you see? My fear is you do, and you like what you see. And for the rest of you, remember where their head is. Trump didn't get us here alone. Think about those who remain, who've sent every signal that they want to be every bit of his animus and more. Silent about the insurrection, slowing Homeland Security's ability to fight the same people that did this, silencing any who fight for the old GOP, promoting people who play at killing Nancy Pelosi, and members of the FBI. These who want to bring weapons into Congress but don't want metal detectors, subverting the Constitution to clear Trump, slow-walking pandemic response. Who does all of these things unless you want chaos? GOP used to stand for Grand Old Party. Now it's like Gang of Pirates. Let's bring in two wise men with some deadly serious advice. Van Jones, Michael Smirkanish. First, Smirk. Am I off? I mean, what is the sum total of the calculus of their actions if they don't want more trouble?
You're off a little bit. I don't know that they necessarily want chaos. By the way, the Congresswoman, she's loathsome. So
They
don't
just put her on a
misunderstand
committee.
what I'm about to tell
They
you.
just promoted her.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's
So
right.
why? They
But
don't want worse,
I
but they
think-
put someone who
I
wants to
think-
kill Pelosi on a committee? How do you square those with not wanting
No,
chaos?
what I'm saying is that this is horrible to say, good for their business, because Chris, you got to get out of that bubble a little bit. The state legislatures, the gubernatorial mansions, the gain of seats in Congress, the probability that they will control the House if historical precedents hold firm. Add now in the data from Politico and Morning Consult today that says 56% of Republicans, they want Donald Trump to run again in 2024.
Yeah.
So the things that you and I and Van are discussing that we find horrible are actually ratifying that base, and that's their bread and butter.
All right, one quick thing, okay? I understand what you're saying, and we both do shows on Sirius Radio. We get people from all over the country. I've been all over this country more than most people on this network, and certainly you have when it comes to reporting. I know Trump people. I live in a Trump county. I get it. What I'm saying, how you play the game at the top, Michael, matters. And the fact that you think it may be beneficial doesn't make it okay.
아우,
Your
진짜.
silence about insurrections, I know, but you're saying, hey, this is good for them. It takes you to the same place I am, brother. They want the chaos.
I'm saying you would have expected the party to pay a price already. You would have expected the party to pay a price in the congressional elections.
맨날 싸워,
I'm saying the price is
맨날.
yet to come. People are receptive to the animus. They are afraid. They're afraid of culture change. They're being baited that diversity is your downfall. I know it works. That's why demagogue is a Greek word, and there was never a positive opposite, Michael. It's effective. I'm saying it's now their plan. Now, Van, let me bounce to you. You guys want to work with them. You want a power sharing deal. I mean, it's lunacy to me. You see what they're about. It is the wasp and the bullfrog. The wasp gets on the back of the bullfrog, says, give me a ride across. Frog says, no, you're going to sting me. He says, no, we'll both die. Stings him right in the arm. On the way down, what does the wasp say? I am who I am. You know who they are. Why give them a ride?
Well, you're reducing the entire Republican Party to its worst elements. And I think that there are people who are wise who want to resist that. We are in a hell of a situation because we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. If we don't reach out and try to work with the Republicans, then they say, well, look, these guys are out to get us. They won't work with us at all. They're going to run us over. We got to stick together. If we do reach out, then to your point, some will use that against us. I am a follower of Joe Biden at this point. I'm a Joe Biden Democrat. The only way to solve the actual problems is to get enough Republicans on board that we can get stuff done. And until that all options have been exhausted, I think it makes sense for Democrats to reach out. I don't think that our viewers understand how much fear there is now on both sides. People hate when you say both sides. But when you talk to some of these Republicans now, they have been told that this country is being taken over by communists who want to silence them, deplatform them, deprogram them, take their guns, and turn their kids into transgender kids.
They've been hearing that for years.
And now they feel that Democrats have all the power.
Right.
On our side, we're hearing that you got a militia movement infiltrated by Nazis and worse that's coming for us. And so the people who are trying to stand in the breach right now are at a moment of maximum difficulty and frustration. But I am still on the side of the Democrats who are trying to figure out, is there one, are there two, are there three? What Republicans can we work with, and can we start to roll this thing back?
Well, look, one thing, you didn't just see a bunch of LGBTQs attack the Capitol, okay? So maybe both sides are being fed BS, but one of it has come to pass and one hasn't. But Michael, do you think there's a chance that there are enough people willing to risk getting kicked out of the GOP and getting no assignments, as we see what's happening with Kinzinger and what they're doing with Liz Cheney, to join the Democrats in the name of progress?
We have quantitative data that says that's not the case, and the number is 5. That's how many in the Senate on that constitutional challenge led by Rand Paul stepped out from their party. May I make one other observation?
Go ahead.
That memo that was released today from the Department of Homeland Security, when I read it, warning of a domestic threat, I said, wait, I've been to this movie before. Do you remember soon after President Obama's election, April of 2009, Janet Napolitano's office issued the same warning, and then it got pulled back. Why? Because it said, returning veterans are ripe for recruitment. And there was such a hue and cry that they had to forget that they ever issued it. It's the same story. It's been going on all these years.
But it's a lot worse now because now you have a group of people that unfortunately did include some of our veterans who have attacked the Capitol, and most of those people are still walking around just fine, and they're planning worse acts. And so, yeah, there was a warning earlier, it wasn't heeded. The Trump administration pulled back rather than leaning forward on some of this domestic extremism, and now it's getting worse.
Well, look, fool you once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, all right? This is on us. We know what's happening. We know where everybody is positioned. What will be done next? Van Jones, thank you. Michael Smerconish, always a pleasure, brother. You've seen the pictures
Thank you.
of January 6th, okay? Now, for the first time, we're hearing some of the conspiracy-fueled chatter from the days before the attack. Here's a taste.
There's going to have to be some serious anarchy that goes on Otherwise, nothing's going to change.
Now, it gets uglier from there, and I want you to hear it, because these are real people, your neighbors, maybe your relatives, and now we have a political system where half doesn't want this to happen and the other half is dead silent. New York Times journalist who captured it joins us next.
What a shot. Wow, that came from nowhere.
Homegrown political hatred.
It's the edge of the blade.
A mob of American radicals.
They're jihadists. You're a soldier for the Lord.
How did it get this bad?
We must end this uncivil war.
When we cannot agree on what is true, you cannot have a functioning democracy.
CNN's Fareed Zakaria explores the divided states of America, Monday on CNN.
Across Africa, businesses are working together like never before. All new on CNN, Connecting Africa.
Join me and Lenny Jokas as we crisscross the continent to show you how new connections between people, businesses, and projects are revolutionizing commerce in Africa.
All new Connecting Africa on CNN. In association with Afrexim Bank.
Chocolate continues to grow, and one of the things that we have been able to do is really amplify our digital segment, which is growing triple digits across the globe. The other thing that we did is to be where consumers are shopping is to open up consumer packaged goods business as well, getting into channels like grocery, like mass, like drug, opening up a new segment of business. And it's where consumers are shopping today. When you look at the global size, it's about 18 billion in revenue. And premium chocolate has been growing faster in that segment than any other chocolates. Consumers are demanding an omni-channel experience, but I think digital technology will be on the forefront.
There are a lot of chronographs around, but it's difficult to make one that stands out. Like the Portuguese does. In the late 30s, which was a tough time for the Swiss watch industry, with war brewing in Europe, a Portuguese retailer approached IWC in search of a men's wristwatch with a high degree of accuracy. By the early 40s, in the midst of the Second World War, IWC delivered, and the Portuguese was worn. One distinctive feature of the watch was its size, 43 millimeters in diameter, because inside, and this is how IWC answered the retailer's request, was a highly accurate pocket watch movement. Not many Portuguesers were produced from the end of the war until 1993, when the brand launched a new model to celebrate its 125th anniversary.
Coronavirus. To get daily news updates in your inbox, sign up for the CNN newsletter. Coronavirus. Fact versus fiction.
All right, so we have new, rare national terror warning from the Homeland Security. Why? Because the threat is very real, uniquely so, and they're worried. Domestic extremists are fired up by what they saw in the Capitol because now they have access to people in the political mainstream to recruit, to radicalize. So if the threat wasn't real to you before, wait until you hear directly from some of these people.
They're guilty. Treason. Behead them all.
Bring in the firing squad.
If the Biden inauguration wants to come in and take your weapons and force vaccination, you have due process to blow them the away. Do it.
It's not exactly what due process is. But look, it's about animus. It's about feelings, not facts. It's about anger. My next guest, Stuart Thompson, writes for the New York Times and spent 3 weeks monitoring a unique QAnon chat room. Now you can say, oh, QAnon. It's spreading all over the place. People are taking little pieces of it just as a motivator for their anger. So these members uploaded their thoughts with short audio recordings like the ones you just heard. Stuart, welcome to Primetime. Appreciate you doing the work.
Thanks for having me.
What was the theory behind the suggestion of your reporting? What did you want to see and what did you see?
Well, I started off looking at Stop the Steal, the movement that came after the election, that the election was a fraud, and going down that rabbit hole ended up in this chat room, which was a Stop the Steal focused chat room, but I kind of discovered that there's major overlap there, which makes a lot of sense if you believe in a global cabal of sex traffickers as the QAnon movement does. It's not a big leap to say parts of the election were fraudulently handled, and I just wanted to try to find out what these people were like. They ended up being sort of like you mentioned earlier, your neighbors, your friends, pretty typical Americans, actually. This isn't their life. They're not committing all their time to it, but, you know, they have grandkids, they're babysitting, they're living lives, they're working. But a big part of what they do as well is share misinformation, try to further the conspiracy, and talk to each other on this.
눈이 끄셨습니다.
I hope it hasn't become typically American to discuss how to kill people that you don't agree with. And this isn't just angry talk. It is about inciting harm. Here's more of the sound that Stuart reported and recorded.
Does he not realize President